Girls, am I right? Yeah. No. Hello and welcome to another video. So today I am doing a very exciting book tag, and that is the Julie and the Phantoms book tag. I've wanted to do this tag since I watched the show on Netflix, but I didn't know it was a thing. And when I finally found out that someone already did it, I was so happy. So I will link down, I think there's 2 creators to the original tag. I'll link them down below, and I'll link their videos as well. So without further ado, let's get into the tag. Prompt number 1 is of course Julie. And I tried to channel Julie through my wardrobe today. I don't know if I was successful. She wears a jacket very much like this one in the episode when she gets mad at the guys. That's not too specific, but anyway, let's get on with the prompt. And the prompt is: name a character that goes through a hard time but comes out of it at the end stronger than ever. And for that, I chose the main character from Rebel of the Sands, Amani. I just love Amani so much. I seriously need to reread these books because I feel like I've forgotten half of it. But she goes through such a transformation, such good character development. I love her so much. If you're looking for a fantasy book with a strong female lead, then this is definitely the book for you. This book doesn't get a lot of hype on BookTube. I've actually never seen anyone talk about it, so I'll take it on as my job to spread the love for Rebel of the Sands. Well, prompt number 2 is of course Luke. And I tried to channel him with this outfit. I don't know if it really comes through. I wish this beanie was orange, but alas, I only had a yellow one. So let's get on with the prompt. And the prompt is: name a character who is more than meets the eye. And for this one, I chose Laura Jean from To All the Boys I've Loved Before trilogy. And I feel like she's a very underrated female character because she's very feminine and very girly, and I feel like most people don't gravitate towards those kinds of characters and don't consider them strong female characters, but I feel like she's a very good character. She's very well developed all throughout the 3 books. You, as a reader, you know she has other hobbies and hopes and dreams besides Peter Kay. And I feel like that's so important because even though it's a contemporary novel and it's about a love story, Laura Jean is very well developed, and I think that's so important, so I feel like she's definitely more than meets the eye. Prompt number 3 is Alex, and the prompt for this one is: name your favorite comfort character. Now, I hope you appreciate how I'm channeling Alex. I don't have a fanny pack, but I feel like everything else is pretty on point. Okay, so anyway, let's go back to the prompt. And for this one, I chose, to no one's surprise,
it's upside down.
Okay, Percy Jackson from the Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Specifically Percy and the Percy Jackson and the Olympians, because I love him in Heroes of Olympus, but I love him even more in the first series. But because I didn't want to sound like a broken record, I also have a few more choices for this one. My second choice would be Edward Elric from the Full Metal Alchemist manga. I love him so much. I don't feel like I stress this enough. I love this boy. And then I still have 2 more options. My third option would be
It's always the other way around.
My third option would be Hinata, and basically all of the Karasuno crew, and overall every single character that appears in this manga is just basically pure and wholesome, maybe except Oikawa, but I still love them all, and every time I read from this manga, I just feel so happy and so comforted. It's like my happy place. Actually, my last options are both Nick and Charlie from the Heartstopper series because I love them so much. I also love their friend group. Every good person in life deserves to have a friend group as good and wholesome and comforting as the one in the Heartstopper series. Put me back in, coach. Next up is everyone's favorite, or who should be everyone's favorite, Reggie. Fun fact, I actually dressed up as Reggie this Halloween. And his prompt is, of course, very predictably, name your favorite comic relief character. For this one though, it doesn't specify that it has to be from a book. So, my answer is, and will always be, Styles from Teen Wolf, specifically Styles through the first to the third season. I love Styles. He's one of my top 5 favorite characters of all time, so he just had to be on here. Honorable mention to Kid Flash from Young Justice. And that's it. I am a rebel and I'm not gonna choose a book character, so. The next prompt is Flynn, and the prompt for this one is pick a book with a strong female friendship, and I love strong female friendships, so for this one I choose Cordelia and Lucy from Chain of Gold, because what's a stronger female friendship than two Parabatai? I don't know. For this one I could also have chosen from a Cassandra Clare book, Christina and Emma, but I feel like I connect with this friendship a little bit more. Also, maybe in an unpopular opinion, Flynn is a greatly underrated character, and I hope we get more Flynn and Julie moments in the next season. Next up is everyone's favorite skater boy, and that is Willie. And the prompt for this one is name an anticipated release that you would sell your soul for. And for this one, I have to say, honestly, if not Chain of Iron, that I'm really looking forward to that one, maybe The Wicked Powers, because when I finished reading Queen of Air and Darkness, I needed another book immediately after, but I didn't have one. And for some reason, Cassandra Clare decided to put out the Chain of Gold, Chain of Iron books before The Wicked Powers, which makes no sense to me because I'm going to forget all about Kit and Kai and why I love them by the time we get to The Wicked Powers. So I'm just going to have to reread the trilogy and maybe the whole series. Ugh, I can't wait to see them get together, and if they don't get together, I will cry. Next up is everybody's favorite Broadway villain, and that is Caleb. And his prompt is, name your favorite magical fantasy book. Now for this one, it of course has to be Six of Crows. Will I ever shut up about this book series? No, I will not. And obviously, I don't consider Percy Jackson a fantasy book just because it's urban fantasy. So if I could consider Percy Jackson a normal fantasy book, I would obviously pick that. Next up is, as you can probably tell, Nick. Now, I'm pretty sure there's a fedora somewhere in my house, but I couldn't find it, so a bucket hat is the next best thing. And Nick's prompt is kind of like a tiny bit of a spoiler, so if you haven't watched the show, skip to the next one, but if you're watching this, I imagine you watched the show, so stay tuned. And the prompt is, name a book you used to like but changed your mind about. Might I say, I have the perfect book series for this. And that is The 100 Trilogy. I started reading these books because I fell in love with the 100 TV show, at least seasons 1 and 2, when I was in my junior year of high school. And I actually did a presentation for the first book in my English class. So I actually read the first book and loved it despite its many flaws, and then read the second book and also loved it, and I made my friend buy all the books and read them with me. And then when I reached the third one, I don't know what happened, like the hype in my heart had like died so much, then reading through it was like torture. No offense to anyone who likes this book, but I just couldn't do it. I like had to skim the last half of the book because literally nothing was happening. That is the problem with these books. Like, nothing important happens. It's literally just some teenagers making out in the woods. And if that's your thing, then you'll like these. But after watching the show, I was expecting something a little bit more, I don't know, deep. Literally the first thing these teenagers do when they reach Earth for the first time is all the girls like cut off their pants so they have like very short shorts. That's it. That's the first thing they do. That's not a universe I want to live in. Prompt number 9 is Ray, and his prompt is name a book with a supportive parent or family. Now, of course, I would love to say Percy Jackson because Sally Jackson is the best mom ever, but I feel like I can't really say this, not only because it's Percy Jackson, because literally every single other parent is the worst. So after looking at all of my bookshelf, I have found out that I read mostly YA, which means the parents are either dead or not important at all to the story. So it was kind of hard to find a good book for this prompt, but I ended up choosing the Renegades book because I feel like I don't remember this 100%, but I read the last book like when it came out, so kind of recently. But I feel like Adrian's parents are pretty supportive parents. Like his dad's, I liked them when I was reading this. Obviously not Nova's family, but I feel like Adrian's family deserves to be chosen for this prompt. Next up is Carlos, and his prompt is name a book featuring ghosts. And the only book I can come up with is any book from the Mortal Instruments series or Cassandra Clare. Honestly, I don't think any of my other books have ghosts in them. Correct me if I'm wrong, obviously if you know what books I have, but honestly, I don't read that many ghost books. Prompt number 11 is everyone's favorite mean girl, Carrie herself, and her prompt is name a book that always seems to have the spotlight in booktube. I feel like the Lunar Chronicles still gets like a lot of attention, especially from older booktubers. And of course, literally anything written by Cassandra Clare still is so freaking hyped. I mean, people still talk a lot about Six of Crows, but I feel like the hype there is very well deserved. And I feel like I don't own any overhyped books by booktube, so pretty happy about that. And lastly, we have Bobby/Trevor, and his prompt is name a series you trusted but ultimately let you down in the end. And for this prompt, I actually came up with 3 different book series. The first one is Of Fire and Stars. Now, when this book first came out, it was going to be a standalone, but now it's a series, and I actually read it like really expecting to love it because Emma Books loved it, and I really trust her judgment. But honestly, it just didn't do it for me. It was a little bit too much romance and not enough fantasy, and it's a fantasy book, so it didn't really do it for me. Then we have maybe one of the biggest disappointments to me as a teenager, and that is The Young Elites. I picked this one up immediately after reading the Legend trilogy, which I absolutely loved and adored. I read those books in like 2 days each, and I reread them so many times, especially the parts with like my favorite ship in them. I actually read this one. I was very, very confused because the tone is completely different. I don't remember it very well, and I haven't read like the rest of the books in the series, but it's told from the point of view of the person who becomes the villain, I think. That's what I remember from it. And I didn't like the main character at all. So if I don't like the main character, I couldn't push through and finish the series, unfortunately, because I really liked Marie Lu's previous books. And finally, we have a book that I feel like let a lot of people down, and that is Divergent. I actually really, really loved this book up until like the last 30 pages of the book, and that is because, well, I won't give any spoilers, but someone who was the only character I liked died, and in a very stupid way that could have been avoided. So I DNF'd the rest of the series because I just hated the main character. I hated the main love interest, and I hated the relationship. And since the only character that I liked was dead, there was no point reading the rest of the series. So that's it for my Julie and the Phantoms book tag. I'm so happy I did it. Once again, I'm so thankful that someone already created this tag because Julie and the Phantoms deserves all the love in the world. Please, if you haven't yet, go check it out and maybe leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel. That would also be really nice. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye! This has been Unclaimed Demigod. Tell your friends.